Welcome back to the channel, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Today, we're uncovering two of the rarest and most valuable United States Washington quarter-dollar coins that could be hiding in everyday pocket change. One of these coins might be worth far more than its face value, so stay with us until the end. You won't want to miss these incredible discoveries. First coin, here's your script in the exact format you requested. Writing: 1964, United States, Jefferson Nickel stands at a fascinating crossroads in American coinage, quietly representing the final year before one of the biggest transformations in United States mint history. At first glance, it appears almost identical to countless other Jefferson Nickels that pass through cash registers, vending machines, and family piggy banks. Yet beneath its familiar appearance lies a story shaped by economic pressure, changing metal markets, and an era when Americans unknowingly carried pieces of history in their pockets every day. Designed by Felix Schlag with Thomas Jefferson's distinguished portrait on the obverse and the stately Monticello mansion on the reverse, this 5-cent coin became part of everyday life while silently preserving the final chapter of a remarkable period in American numismatics. Today, collectors continue searching through old collections because every surviving 1964 Jefferson nickel carries the possibility of revealing an unexpected surprise. The year 1964 was unlike almost any other in American coin production because demand for circulating coins exploded as the nation experienced rapid economic growth and increasing fears of coin shortages. The mint responded by producing enormous quantities of nickels to keep commerce moving, resulting in millions upon millions entering circulation almost immediately. Ironically, such massive production also increased the chances that tiny imperfections, unusual strikes, and overlooked minting anomalies would escape quality control. Although most examples remain common, certain pieces displaying exceptional quality or unusual characteristics have become magnets for collectors who understand that rarity is not always about low mintage, but often about extraordinary preservation or fascinating production mistakes that transform an ordinary nickel into something unforgettable. Examining a genuine 1964 Jefferson nickel reveals countless small details that experienced collectors never ignore. The familiar silver-gray appearance actually comes from its copper and nickel alloy rather than precious silver, giving it a distinctive color that should remain consistent across the surfaces. Jefferson's hair should display crisp definition, while Monticello's columns and steps become especially important when judging strike quality. Coins showing unusually sharp architectural detail often receive greater attention because complete strikes were surprisingly difficult despite the enormous production numbers. Even subtle differences in luster, surface texture, and eye appeal can dramatically influence collector interest, turning one seemingly ordinary nickel into a prized addition to an advanced collection. Among the most captivating discoveries are mint errors that escaped into circulation decades ago. Careful collectors look for doubled lettering, especially within Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date itself, where slight doubling may indicate an authentic variety rather than simple wear or damage. Others search for off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, die chips, or unusual strike alignment that creates an unmistakable appearance. Occasionally, dramatic die deterioration can produce unusual textures or distorted lettering that spark excitement among specialists. Each genuine mint anomaly tells the story of a split-second event inside powerful coining presses, making every verified error a permanent record of an imperfect moment in mint history. Condition often separates an ordinary 1964 Jefferson nickel from an extraordinary one. Most surviving examples spent decades changing hands, collecting scratches, dullness, and worn details that gradually erased their original brilliance. Finding one that still flashes with fresh mint luster, clean fields, and nearly flawless surfaces can feel almost impossible after more than 60 years. High-grade coins displaying strong eye appeal and exceptional strike quality frequently command far more attention than heavily circulated pieces because preservation itself becomes part of the rarity. Collectors understand that time is often the greatest enemy of coins, making untouched examples increasingly desirable with every passing generation. As excitement builds, value becomes part of the story, but it must always be viewed realistically. Illustrative market examples, not guarantees, show how dramatically prices can vary depending on authenticity, condition, rarity, and collector demand. Minor but desirable variations might attract approximately $2,500 to $3,500 in exceptional circumstances, while especially high-grade certified examples could approach around $5,000. Coins featuring unusual authenticated mint anomalies may sometimes reach illustrative levels near $6,000, reminding collectors that careful examination can occasionally uncover opportunities far beyond ordinary face value. Professional grading and authentication remain essential before assigning any significant worth. The latter continues even higher when several desirable qualities appear together. Rare collector pieces combining exceptional preservation with recognized varieties may illustrate values around $7,500, while uncommon examples displaying remarkable originality or outstanding eye appeal could reach approximately $8,000 under favorable collector demand. Particularly unusual authenticated finds attracting intense bidding interest have occasionally been illustrated near $8,500, demonstrating how competition between determined collectors can elevate remarkable coins. These figures should always be viewed as educational examples rather than promises, because every coin is unique and market conditions constantly change. At the highest end of this illustrative journey, extraordinary examples possessing historically significant characteristics, elite preservation, or exceptionally rare authenticated varieties have sometimes been discussed around the $9,000 level, though such outcomes remain uncommon and never guaranteed. Imagining a simple 5-cent coin becoming worth the equivalent of a down payment on a home, a sudden financial windfall, or a once-in-a-lifetime discovery explains why collectors continue searching through forgotten jars, inherited collections, estate boxes, and old coin albums with remarkable determination. Hope alone never determines value, but remarkable discoveries continue inspiring generations of treasure hunters. Before assuming any 1964 Jefferson nickel is valuable, responsible examination is absolutely essential. Verify that the coin weighs approximately 5 grams. Observe whether the metal color matches the normal copper-nickel alloy. Inspect the strike alignment for unusual positioning. Study the rim shape for abnormalities. And examine every letter carefully for genuine doubling, instead of ordinary machine damage or circulation wear. Use proper lighting, avoid harsh cleaning, and compare suspicious pieces with verified references whenever possible. Most importantly, seek professional authentication and grading, because experienced specialists possess the equipment and expertise needed to distinguish genuine rarities from ordinary coins that merely resemble valuable varieties. Somewhere today, another forgotten 1964 United States Jefferson nickel may still be resting unnoticed inside a dusty drawer, hidden within loose pocket change, tucked into an old coffee can, or waiting inside a family collection that has not been opened for decades. Most will remain ordinary, yet history repeatedly proves that astonishing treasures occasionally emerge from the most unexpected places when patience, knowledge, and careful observation come together. That lingering possibility keeps collectors searching year after year, and the next shocking coin we uncover may reveal an even more unbelievable story hiding in plain sight, ready to challenge everything you thought you knew about everyday change. Second coins. United States Jefferson nickel has quietly traveled through millions of hands for generations, yet behind its familiar appearance lies a fascinating story of American history, craftsmanship, and unexpected rarity that few people ever stop to consider. First introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel, the coin honors Thomas Jefferson on the front while showcasing his Virginia estate, Monticello, on the reverse, creating one of the longest-running and most recognizable designs in United States coinage. Through changing decades, economic shifts, wartime production, and evolving mint technology, this humble 5-cent piece remained a constant companion in cash registers, pockets, and piggy banks across the nation. While countless Jefferson nickels are worth only face value, a tiny number have escaped ordinary expectations because of unusual production characteristics, remarkable preservation, or fascinating mint errors that transformed an everyday coin into something collectors eagerly pursue, proving that history sometimes hides in the smallest pieces of metal. At first glance, every Jefferson nickel appears almost identical, but experienced collectors know that subtle differences can separate an ordinary coin from an unforgettable discovery. The smooth portrait of Jefferson, the carefully engraved inscriptions, the balanced placement of the date and mint mark, and the architectural details of Monticello all become clues during close examination. Tiny variations in the sharpness of the steps leading to Monticello, the clarity of lettering, and the overall strike quality can dramatically influence collector interest. Some coins display stronger details because fresh dies produced crisp impressions, while others reveal softness caused by worn equipment. These seemingly minor distinctions often become the difference between an overlooked pocket coin and a treasured collectible, admired by numismatists who appreciate the remarkable craftsmanship hidden within such a familiar design. The Jefferson nickel also carries an extraordinary historical connection to wartime America. During World War II, special wartime nickels were struck with a different alloy to preserve nickel for military production, making those issues instantly recognizable because of their large mint marks above Monticello. Although most Jefferson nickels returned to their traditional composition after the war, this brief chapter reminds collectors that even small coins can reflect major events in world history. Beyond the wartime years, changing production methods, improvements in mint machinery, and enormous mintages occasionally created unexpected mistakes that escaped into circulation. Those rare survivors became lasting reminders that even the most carefully controlled manufacturing process can occasionally produce astonishing exceptions that generations later inspire excitement among collectors. One of the greatest thrills surrounding Jefferson nickels comes from the world of mint errors, where ordinary expectations suddenly disappear. A slightly off-center strike, noticeable die cracks, dramatic die chips, doubled letters, misplaced mint marks on older issues, broad strikes, clip planchets, or unusual strike alignment can transform an otherwise common coin into a fascinating conversation piece. Letter doubling, especially when visible in inscriptions or dates, deserves careful examination because true doubled dies differ significantly from ordinary machine doubling. Genuine examples often display clear separation and rounded design elements rather than flat, shelf-like distortions. These subtle differences require patience, magnification, and knowledge, rewarding careful observers who understand that authentic mint errors are created during production rather than through damage after the coin entered circulation. Condition often tells an equally compelling story because Jefferson nickels spent decades enduring commerce, friction, moisture, and constant handling. Most surviving examples display worn hair details, softened lettering, dull surfaces, or countless tiny contact marks collected through years of circulation. In contrast, exceptionally preserved pieces retain bright luster, sharp rims, crisp lettering, and remarkable design definition that immediately capture attention under proper lighting. Collectors especially admire coins showing full strike characteristics, balanced surfaces, and minimal distractions because these qualities become increasingly difficult to find as decades pass. The emotional appeal comes from realizing that while millions of nickels were produced, only a tiny fraction survived untouched enough to preserve the original beauty intended by the engravers at the United States Mint. As collector interest continues to grow, stories of remarkable Jefferson Nickels appearing in old collections, forgotten jars, inherited boxes, and overlooked bank rolls continue to inspire treasure hunters everywhere. It is easy to imagine someone casually spending a coin, without realizing it possessed an uncommon feature that another collector would immediately recognize. This possibility keeps enthusiasm alive, because discoveries occasionally emerge from the most ordinary places rather than prestigious auctions alone. Every search becomes part history lesson, part detective story, and part adventure fueled by curiosity, reminding collectors that patience often rewards those willing to examine each coin carefully instead of dismissing it as ordinary pocket change. When conversations turn toward value, excitement naturally follows, but experienced collectors understand that every price depends on authenticity, rarity, demand, eye appeal, certification, and overall condition. As an illustrative storytelling ladder rather than a guarantee, a Jefferson nickel with minor but desirable variations might attract attention in the range of $2,500 to $3,500, while an exceptional high-grade example could inspire interest around $5,000. An unusual mint anomaly may encourage discussion near $6,000, and a rare collector piece possessing multiple desirable characteristics could approach $7,500. Exceptionally preserved or uncommon coins might reach around $8,000, while unusual finds experiencing especially strong collector demand could approach $8,500. Particularly notable or historically significant examples have sometimes inspired conversations reaching up to $9,000, illustrating how dramatically value can change when rarity and demand meet, though these figures remain illustrative possibilities rather than promised outcomes. The emotional impact of such discoveries explains why Jefferson Nickels continue captivating collectors around the world. Imagine realizing that a coin resting unnoticed for years could represent the equivalent of a meaningful down payment on a home, provide the feeling of a sudden financial windfall, or become the once-in-a-lifetime discovery every collector dreams about. Even if such extraordinary outcomes remain exceptionally rare, the possibility itself transforms an ordinary handful of change into something filled with suspense and anticipation. Every coin examined carries a tiny spark of hope, encouraging people to slow down, appreciate history, and recognize that remarkable stories sometimes hide inside the smallest everyday objects. Anyone hoping to identify an important Jefferson nickel should approach the process carefully and responsibly by examining the coin under proper lighting with magnification. Compare the weight to official specifications because unusual differences may deserve further investigation. Observe whether the metal color appears consistent with the expected composition. Inspect the strike alignment for signs of genuine minting irregularities. Study the rim shape for abnormal formation, and carefully inspect lettering for authentic doubling rather than damage or wear. Avoid cleaning coins because even gentle polishing can permanently reduce collector value. Whenever a coin appears genuinely unusual, professional authentication and grading provide the most reliable way to confirm its identity, preserve its condition, and establish its place within the collecting community. The next time a Jefferson nickel slides across a countertop, appears in pocket change, or rests unnoticed at the bottom of an old drawer, remember that history has repeatedly shown how extraordinary treasures sometimes disguise themselves as ordinary coins waiting for someone curious enough to notice the smallest detail. Most will remain simple 5-cent pieces, but every once in a great while an overlooked survivor, reminds the world that remarkable discoveries still happen when preparation meets opportunity. Keep searching patiently, examine every detail with care, trust professional authentication over wishful thinking, and never underestimate the hidden potential of everyday change, because the next shocking coin may be even more surprising than the Jefferson nickel, and its unbelievable secrets are waiting just around the corner.